Hello, can you hear me? Well, a very good afternoon and welcome along to the halfway point of the 2024 ROTAX MAX Latvian Challenge. And we are back once again to a familiar territory here in Ropatsu Novas, the LV Triple Three Baltic Circuit. We've got plenty of action over the next day and a half, starting off very shortly with time qualifying. Your commentators this weekend will be myself, Alex Goldschmidt, here today, and then Chris Buxton will be joining us tomorrow for all the way through what is going to be a brilliant way to lead up into the third and final round of the ROTAX Nordic Challenge, which, funny enough, starts in just 7 days' time at this circuit, but also will be the fourth out of 6 rounds so far this season. Of course, a lot of action still to come. We head to Jelgava on the 14th of September, and then Madwana will then host the final round of this year's ROTAX MAX Challenge Lithuania Challenge, the Latvian Karting Cup, and the Latvian Karting Championship. which in their own respective rights are pretty much at the halfway stage as we speak. But we're very shortly getting underway with time qualifying. 1,340 metres is the track length, anywhere between 9 to 11.5 metres wide, and the direction anti-clockwise. And there you see the start-finish straight, the longest straight, I think, in Latvian karting, to be completely honest with you. But it also has a very, very technical part of the circuit, especially going into the first opening couple of corners. So this weekend we have Micro, Mini, Junior, Senior, DD2, DD2 Masters. Then we also have Micro, Mini, Junior, Senior, DD2 and DD2 Heavy. Along with that, we welcome back Tillotson T4 Latvia, who will be also in action as they are building themselves up towards the Tillotson T4 Nations Cup, which is taking place in September of this year, I believe, at the Cartodromo Lucas Guerrero in Valencia in Spain. But the track, well, I managed to have the opportunity, thanks to Yanis Karajuk's last year, to visit it. Got blamed for the weather. But, well, for those that are thinking, well, where are you at the moment? Well, I'm currently in continental Europe at the moment as we speak. So greetings from Germany, from our friends at ROTAX MAX Germany and ROTAX MAX Challenge Belgium, who are having their respective fourth and third rounds of their run to Sarno. There you see it is overcast at the moment, a 15-kilometre of hour speed in terms of the wind. So there is a breeze. There's a lot of cloud cover over Europe at the moment in general. But it is pretty much bone dry here at the circuit. Now, looking into got a couple of minutes to kill before respective sessions. So looking at the first session that we're going to see going out, which will be Micromax. Let's turn our attention to those drivers competing in the Micromax class at the moment. Carlis Benessons from Latvia, one of two privateers, and it is a Latvian 1-2 at the top of the standings at the moment. 97 points to Carlis Benessons, followed by Martins Lapins, who is on 85 points, so 12 adrift. Remigijus Kiausiunas from MLG Racing from Lithuania rounds out the top three in the championship standings on 65 points. Emilis Juozaitis on 56, with RM Latvia's Ivo Us and Rodrigo Taurins rounding out the 6-point scorers so far, 47 and 41 points apiece. Of course, they do have respective points gathered over the course of the race weekend. So we will have the heats, the pre-finals and the finals. The pre-finals and the finals means that you pick up the most points. 25 for a win, 20 for second, 16 for third, and so on and so forth. 13th and then 11th for the next places, so the last two positions in the top five. But they're already chomping at the bit. It's going to be a fast-paced 5-minute qualifying session. And we do have a few more drivers in terms of the Micromax competitors. So green flag waves at the end of the start, well, at the end of the dummy grid, and straight away they go on to the start-finish straights here at the circuit. So 5 minutes on the timer, and it will be a case of getting up to speed very, very quickly indeed at this moment in time. So Micromax qualifying very much underway. We're into the first 20 or 30 seconds or so. So there you see some of the drivers still. Yanis and Yana, I need to give you a little bit of a talking to, addressing down. And the main reason being is the fact that a lot of the drivers, apart from Ivo Zos, and also one of the other drivers in this, Martins Lapins, have had their pictures taken. So very fast sweeping corners, and the drivers will have to get up to speed very, very quickly indeed, as they will come through into some of the twistier parts of the circuit, especially the latter part of the track. It's a very fast sort of S-bend as we get the first couple of drivers coming across the line. So let's see what the lap times are. Emilis Juozaitis in the number 17 goes in with the 1 minute 4.4004, but straight away that's beaten by the pair of Martins Lapins, who goes 103.237, and Oskar Spitkovas, who goes in at a 103.432. So the top four rounded out by Remigius Kriausiunas, covered by just under 9/10. We saw a lot of action here last year for the Nordic Challenge and also the ROTAX MAX Latvia Challenge. But at the moment, Lapins leads the way. 63.237 is the lap time to beat. As Emilis Eurasitis, the number 17, has the number 99 of Remigius Kriausiunas up the inside to get through. And will take the head of the field, going up to halfway through in this qualifying session. And Kriausiunas goes quickest by 1/1000, but that's completely changed because Martins Lapins has just put in an absolute howitzer of a lap, a 1 minute, 1:1.148. That is nearly 2/10 quicker than Oskar Spitkovas in the number 48. Remigius Kriausiunas and Tarasim Nikas round out the top four. So Martins Lapins, fastest one out there on the number 69. Lapins running on the Paralin chassis and is a privateer. But it is going to be about what the two here at the front end of the field. Kriausiunas and Emilis Eurasitis. This could be very, very crucial on where this is going to put them on for the first heat very shortly. They're just under 2 minutes away from the checkered flag. Oh, bit sideways there from Eurasitis coming out of the final corner. No, that's not what you want to do in qualifying. You don't want to start squeezing people, and that is going to impede your lap time. And because of that, Oskar Spitkovas in the number 48 has just gone top by nearly 2.5 of a second. Martins Lapins in second. Spitkovas just 9/10 away from breaking under 60 seconds. So the drivers will have 2 laps remaining, including this one on this qualifying session, to put down their best marker. You can just see the amount of concentration that the youngest drivers on the grid have. That looks to be Zimnikas that has just got through on Eurasitis, as they will now start their final push lap in qualifying. And look at the train behind Zimnikas. Let's see if anyone improves. Spitkovas goes up to a 60.410, and now what they don't need on this final push lap is for people to start battling away. This can be very, very detrimental. They start battling. Benensons, Lapins, Zimnikas, Kriausiunas, Taurins, Eurasitis. Eurasitis has dropped all the way down to 7th position in amidst all of this. So the timer counts down 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that is time expired in this qualifying session. Still, Oskar Spitkovas with the time to beat in this qualifying session, a 1 minute, 0.410. Carlos Bensons in second in this train. Can he improve? They come across the line. And the provisional results are as follows. Well, great run by Oskar Spitkovas, 60.410 in that qualifying session. And it's ahead of a trio of Latvians in the form of Kalis Bernatons, Martins Lapins, Rodrigo Taurins, Torasim Nikas rounding out the top 5, covered by 1.2. Emilis Eurasitis, very difficult session for the number 17. And then also the fact that Remigius Kriausiunas was 1.68 seconds behind our original pole sitter, with Ivo Os bringing up the rear of the field in 8th, 1.732 seconds down. But Oskar Spitkovas takes first blood in timed qualifying and in micro this weekend here at Raposo Novas at the 333 Baltic Circuit. Great to be back with them once again. And then we have to concentrate our focus very shortly on the Minimax side of things, as they'll be out in just a couple of minutes' time. However, looking at the ROTAX MAX Challenge Latvia standings, it's tied at the top between Patrikos Jokias, the youngster from Lithuania, these days based out of Nice in France, for the GS Racing Club, tied on points, 88 apiece, between Jokias and Rodrigo Kakers. Fresh from his antics at Kartmasters, where he finished P6 overall, MRG Racing's Jack Collinson was quickly on the Eurotunnel, along with Dad Stee and the family, over to Ropatsi Novas. He's third in the championship standings and was an absolute tour de force at Smiltner last time out 2 months ago. He's currently on 72 points, so battle for the first of 4 tickets for this year's ROTAX MAX Challenge Grand Finals are very much hotly contested. Mikkel Grantins and Marco Plinta round out the top 5 on 48 and 45 points apiece. There you see the junior ROTAX division. So they're being told, well, you've got to wait until we put you in the dummy grid. And that's not going to happen right now, because they still do have, very shortly, our Minimax qualifiers out. So 5 minutes to put the best lap forward. Jack Collinson, for those wondering, normally runs with SPR, Sam Pollitt Racing, in the United Kingdom. So, looks like the green flag has already waved, and Minimax qualifying has gotten going. So they go into the infield for the first time, with Patrikos Jokias looks to be leading Jack Collinson at the moment in the 191. So they were very, very quick to get across the line and get themselves moving around this 1,340 metres a second. And look already, Jack Collinson bumped just on the back of Patrikos Jokias, dives through on the inside. Now, sometimes doing that can be a good thing in time qualifying, but if you are the driver behind, you are going to have more of an opportunity to pull away from those, well, to get yourself a nice little bit of a slipstream as the first couple of lap times start coming in. Collinson, 59.5. That is ahead of Mazinas, Mayos Mazinas. Patrikos Jokias rounds out the top 3. Rodrigo Karkas, level on points with Patrikos Jokias in the championship standings. Rounds out the top 4. So Jack Collinson, proud of both his British and his Anglo-Latvian heritage very much. If he gets a ticket, he's already told me, I'm going to represent Team Latvia. A bit like Gustav Zuzakovs as well, from normally runs with Hunter Motorsport over in the United Kingdom. But sometimes I don't know if Reese Hunter want to get things a little bit longer in terms of distance travelled. Collinson improves further still, 58.122 for the youngster, based out of the north, based in the north of the United Kingdom. Judas Pluxner, 31 thousandths behind. Martin Streiber, Patrikos Jokias and Mayos Mazinas ran out the top 5, covered by 2/10. Top 10 rounded out by Jonas Bundis in the number 141, covered by 7/10 as Collinson decides to slot in, well, slow down a little bit. And then Patrikos Jokias decides, well, I'm going to slow down for the penultimate right-hander to really give myself a little bit of an opportunity. Mayos Mazinas goes up to P2, 58.127. Top 4, however, rounded up by Judas Pluxner and Rodrigo Karkas, covered by 43 thousandths of a second. And then all the way down to Marks Kononov's behind Keita Spike. Gap is 1.2 seconds. So Collinson will look to continue that run of form into time qualifying, and well, that's just a little bit of a bit of prowess being shown there by the 191. One more push lap to go. And has there been a change? Well, there is a change to the point where the top six rounded out by Martin Streber, covered by just over a tenth. So, apologies from my side. Had a slight internet outage over here, but the wonders of modern technology means that we can continue onwards. As Jack Collinson took provisional pole position ahead of Marius Mazinis, Juras Pluxner, Rodrigo Karkas, Patrikos Iokis, Martin Streber, Mikko Grantins, Klaus Hans, Jonas Bundis, Alex Menezes, Dominic Stargies, Keita Spike, and Marks Kononovs rounding out that qualifying session. And now we go to our juniors. So we're already close to the halfway point of this session, as in qualifying sessions being completed here at ROTAX Novas, as there is Estonia's Fernando Pemre in the 277, trying to stride away and making sure no one else can try and catch him. The first benchmark lap times in Pemre crosses the line. What does the Estonian set in terms of a benchmark? 56.580, 6/1000ths ahead of Tom Strehler. Markus Jauk, Adrian Stions, and Elisa Stolcimane round out the top 5. And at the moment, it is Adrian Stions that lead 5 points ahead of Elisa Stolcimane on 80 points. Tom Strehler third on 56, with Elisa Sekavicius rounding out the top 4. Martin Svalts on 45 points rounds out the top 5. But at the moment, with only one lap so far, Fernando Pemre looks to expand that gap. 54.963. Tom Strehler goes P3. Elisa Stolcimane, younger sister of Thomas Stolcimanis. Stolcimanis, previous winner of the grand finals, if I remember correctly, 2021, was then picked up by the Ferrari Drivers Academy, that has also seen Oliver Behrman move up through the ranks from karting into single-seaters, and now has a drive at Haas Formula One for 2024. As Elisa Stolcimane trying to find her way through traffic, as we have a couple of minutes left in this session. But Fernando Pemre continuing to push the envelope, and what's more, push that tempo, because Fernando Pemre has just put in a 54.589 second lap time, nearly 3/10 quicker than Stolcimane. Robin Semet, Tom Strehler, and Hans Markus Nusk round out the top 5 overall, ahead of Marco Pinta. Adrian Stions, the points leader, currently in 8th, needs to get a wriggle on as the 271 from Latvia. Markus Jauk, Lojza Sekavicius, and Fredrik Karasik rounding out the 12 strong. Karasik 3.2 seconds off of Fernando Pemre's fastest time. But from 1st to 11th, 0.66 separate them in the battle for pole here at ROTAX Novas. And in the meantime, well, Fernando Pemre has gone 75,000ths quicker than Markus Jauk, Adrian Stions in 3rd. Elisa Stolcimane, Aloisa Sekavicius, and Tom Strehler covered by 4/10. They round out the top 6 into the final 45 seconds. There is the youngster from Estonia running on an OTK. This is a privateer. Pemre could be very, very lucky. Yes, he's going to get another lap in as we are counting down the time. But the timer has expired. Will it be the case that Fernando Pemre from Estonia, privateer driver, will he improve further still on a 54.446? 0.075 ahead of Markus Jauk. Adrian Stions A further 0.13 off of the race lead, or off of the session leader, and Anissa Stolchamani only 1.4 seconds off. The checkered flag is out. Does Pimminent improve? Yes, 54.422. So Fernando Pimminent takes provisional pole position in the junior class, ahead of Marcus Yauk by 99 thousandths of a second. Now, Adrian Stians covers the rest of the top three by just over a tenth and a half, just under a tenth and a half apart. Just over a tenth and a half apart was Elisa Stolchamani in fourth, Hans Markus Nusk fifth, Aloysia Sekovic sixth, ahead of Robin Semet, Tom Strela down in eighth place. So that concludes their time qualifying session. Sekovic is running at the top six, headed Robin Semet, Tom Strela, Marco Plinter, Timmins Peserica, Gabriels Moises, around 12 strong. Very shortly, we'll be going to our next qualifying session, which will be seniors in just a couple of minutes. So with seniors now 30 seconds of the way through their 5-minute qualifying session. Championship standings very interesting indeed. Atium Sestikovs has a 12-point lead. And 102 points is the MRG Racing driver from Latvia. He's ahead of Estonia's Racing Academy ace, Oliver Kerg. In second, Jonas Tomingas from the Jogisuu Karting Club from Estonia rounds out the top 376 points. Carlos Kidikovs and Kaspar Jobpura from Latvia and Estonia respectively round out the top 5 in the standings. But 3.5 minutes still to go. Oscar Savitsky up to 4th. Roman Solodovs and in P5. Vlasim Teslikovs leads the way by just 9 1/1000ths of a second. He's ahead of Carlos Kidikovs, Ilya Shurometa, Noya Shuraitis, and Oscar Savitsky. Times are starting to Kaspar Jopera gets to the top of the timesheets for the first time in this session. 53.415, 30,000 quicker than Adrian Sestikovs. And Oliver Kerg yet to set reflective lap time in this session as we're pretty much past the halfway point. So drivers have got probably another 2 or 3 laps maybe at their disposal, but if they come across the line before their hair's cut, then that has to be pulled. With the top 5 covered by just under 5 seconds. So there is still plenty more of this session. Testikos is leading the way, gets his head, is leading the way by 9/100ths of a second. Kasper Joipera waiting to see if he responds. That was Jelolitis just having a scare going into one of the very tight and very technically twisted circuits here at Robato Novas. Always a wonderful atmosphere for these drivers to compete in. With the session coming to its inevitable conclusion, I'm a bit concerned for Oliver Kirk, as if he is running out on the circuit. Just going to check. You may have to manually do that because this transponder is not showing up on the live timing. It never is easy trying to put your best foot forward in qualifying as the timer counts down. Atium Sestakos looking to do a very, very good job here in the number 357 and extend that very eclectic lead that he's got. Check it out this time. So Atium Sestakos crosses the line. Did he improve on that lap time? No, he did not. Got close to it though, 53.161. The number 357's best lap time. Oskar Savitsky puts it on the front row with 73 thousandths between him and Sestakos. So Sestakos takes provisional pole ahead of Savitsky, Joipera, Perla, Rodinos, Onasianis Dominguez. Along with that, you've got Kalis Kirikovs, Arturs Danilevskis, Marta Spike. Ilya Shedometa completed the top 10 in that session. Had a nice Sherolaitis, Kate Robiseva, Rikard Skikulis, Rikard Rikstins, Dovidas Gudlevicius, and no lap time set for Oliver Kirk. That's a bit of a worry there. So the first driver is starting to come out of the mini grid and put the pedal to the metal like the Birolart does, coming through. Well, it's just gone past the got around the circuit. Great to be able to have that chance to do so. But lap times will be coming in about probably the next 30 seconds. So this is going to be quite crucial for how the drivers respond to quicker qualifying sessions. A lot of them just walk in the seat and do, 3 to 400 laps. So first lap time that comes in is by Ricardo Vargas, 53.854. Martin Teperis can't round out the top three at the moment, comes by just under 2.3 seconds. Expect that to change. Janowskis goes P5, Zalaitis, 6, Mikkelson's Cup. Plitsai, who is the second fastest driver in the DD2 Masters class in this category. Zalaitis in the number 511. Definitely getting a move on as we speak. And anyone changing at the top end of the field because Patrick Salsaloch-Malis has put in a 52.5. Thomas Rudokas, 65,002. Martin Janowskis, P3. Harold Gaukaklis leading the way in DD2 Masters, the number 508. He is currently in fourth place, 0.479 behind the current points leader. And it is going to be a bit of a dogfight for the pole position in the race weekend because Patrick Salsaloch-Malis is 55,000 quicker than in those last attempt with Thomas Pearsons. Thomas Rudokas, who's also on the same with all 18 drivers having set an initial lap time. This bodes very, very well for this class. Those zones. So Loch-Malis still holding on to that pole position as one of the drivers opts to dive into the pit lane. I think that might be Thomas Pearsons, the 411. So maybe another lap or two for them to get the best out of the tyres that they can. This latter stage of qualifying, we've got 50 seconds to go. And with the top three, Patrick Salsaloch-Malis, Thomas Pearsons, Thomas Rudokas, covered by 0.065 of a second. Martin Janowskis, Ricardo Vargas, Harold Gaukaklis, who leads the DD2 Masters contingent this weekend. Are there going to be any improvements? Loch-Malis, no. Pearsons, no. Rudokas, there's the 499 of Andres Upkau. But the checkered flag is out for that session. Drivers doing their final few couple of corners, and then we'll make their way down to the start-finish straight and the final corner, and thereby not have to worry about going across the line for another lap. Well, someone else is going to. The checkered will be out this time. Part of the drivers. Is there going to be an improvement by the driver coming across the line? I'm wondering who that was. I don't think they did. However, Lochmelis takes the overall pole position time in the amalgamated DD2 and DD2 Masters of a 52.506. 55 thousandths ahead of times. A further 65 thousandths rounding out the top three, courtesy of Thomas Rudokas. Martin Sinovskis, Ricardo Vargas. They round out the top five in DD2. Hannes Gargaglis takes Masters pole position once again. Well, as they say, there's life in the old dog yet. Christian Zemis and Almaz Mikkelsen's round out the top eight, covered by 0.539 of a second. Whereas Pritsai takes second, ahead of Ricards Kalnzins. They round out the top 10. Top 10 covered by 6.5 tenths of a second. Jerusalaitis, 11th. Nicholas Mazinas, 12th. Martin Silt, 13th. Ahead of Ivaris Us, Alman Skanks, Martin Roris, Ignorm, and, well, Andreas Upkalp down in last place. I wouldn't have seen that one coming. We have two more classes to go before we complete the qualifying stages of this race weekend, and then we go straight on into the heats. And a big thank you to everyone that is currently watching on ROTAX MAX Latvia YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe once you get the opportunity to. I know that the Collinson family are proudly watching Jack. Definitely been a very, at one point during over the Kart Masters weekend, that Collinson has been doing a very, very good job. He's progressed in leaps and bounds over the course of respective weekends, and now we get into our penultimate qualifying session: amateur, DD2, Masters, and Heavy, as they go out for their 5-minute qualifying session. So only one driver in the DD2 Masters classification, Richard Pavlov, and the number 593. So in DD2 we have Carlos Brikis, Edmund Zuskovics, Rodrigo Frams, and Kristaps Kalixons. Brikis comes across the line, overall fastest lap of anybody. Marcus Spikis ahead of Maris Lochmelis in the DD2 Heavy. They've got the most in the combined 11-strong grid in this field. Marcus Spikis puts in a 56.902. And at the moment, well, one driver that hasn't done a lap time in the amateur, the Latvian Karting Championship, Edmund Zuskovics, who's just come across the line. 1:37.877. So whether the driver's had an off-track excursion, I'm not 100% sure. But Carlos Brikis goes even quicker still, 54.173. Rodrigo Frams goes up to second, ahead of and I'm just waiting for Kristaps Kalixons, who's currently 6th at the moment overall. third in DD2 Amateur. Calixons remains 2 seconds off the pace. After this, we'll have Tillotson T4, and then we'll then have a brief breather before we get underway with our first set of heats, and we'll be going to around about 7 p.m. local time here in Ropato Novas. So if you're watching the UK, it'll be 5 o'clock. And if you're in continental Europe like myself, that's 6 p.m. Central European summertime. So Marcus Spicius leads the way in DD2 Heavy. Now you can tell the different classes. So the light green is for DD2. DD2 Masters is the dark blue, which is Pavlov, and then the rest, which is the sort of like magenta, well, I would say it's like a puce sort of pink colour. That is for DD2 Heavy. Maris Lochmelis, in the meantime, in the 518, is the fastest DD2 Heavy on a 55.272. 8 minutes quicker than Marcus Spicius in the 523. They round out the top 5 overhaul. Martin Spicius, 1.1 seconds off of Maris Lochmelis' time. And as we're getting down to the final minute of this session, lots more drivers have to be on their A game in these qualifying sessions, because then after that it's going to be flat out, full throttle, and pedal to the metal racing. So coming down to the final 35 seconds, that's the 593 Richard Pavlov, the DD2 Masters driver, running on the old school Nassau configuration when it comes to the barrel art. 20 seconds still to go in this qualifying session. Osbrick has yet to improve on his personal best of 54.152. Pavlov last time around did a 55.7. But the timer has expired. That's it. 5 minutes are up. So Carlos Brickis will take pole position overall in the amalgamated grid of DD2, or amateur DD2, DD2 Masters and DD2 Heavy. And Pavlov putting down a respectable 4th place overall, just over a fraction over a second behind Carlos Brickis, with Rodrigo Frams rounding out the top 2. Kristaps Calixons in 6th takes 3rd place in amateur DD2. No time set by Edmund Zuskovics in the number 551, who actually make an appearance in this session. Maris Lochmelis takes pole in DD2 Heavy, and that is 4th overall ahead of Marcus Spicius, with Dimitris Antunovics rounding out the top 3. Martin Spicius, Artur Zenis, and Juris Spicius rounding out the top, well, the 6 in that class, but also the top 10 overall. One more qualifying session to go, coming up very shortly. It's Tillotson T4 Latvia. So the qualifying session has now officially gotten underway as we're 45 seconds in to this 5-minute session. Of course, these being the more guttural exhaust that you'll hear. 4-stroke engines, around 285, 290 cc. Same Tillotson T4 chassis underneath, with a variety of different drivers behind the wheel from all walks of life. And it is close quarter racing. And as we see the first few lap times come in, Elisabetta Johan Zorce puts the fastest time on the board so far. 1 minute 3.597. Christopher Skarnet second, 27 thousandths behind. Kirill Dimitrievs rounding out the top three, followed by Davis Salmons with Haris Globkins, Daniels Berezins, Rudolfs Berezins, Oris Revalds, Everts Jimenez, and Daci Rosberger rounding out the 10 drivers here at the circuit. And there's still as much commitment and passion about karting, even in this one-make series that really has become a big tour de force. Over 1,000 chassis having been provided by Tillotson. So there is still 2 minutes and 50 to go, but Elisabetta Johan Zorce is leading the way. It's getting a tow. Christopher Skarnet goes to the top of the timesheets. 1 minute 1.445. Daniels Berezins takes second ahead of Haris Gladkins. Davis Salmons last year, who was battling with Elisabetta Johan Zorce, especially right down to the wire at the last round at Jelgava last year, currently rounds out the top four ahead of Zorce, who rounds out the top five, covered by under 7.5 tenths of a second in this qualifying session. Rudolf Berezins 6th, Oris Revalds 7th, Dimitrievs, Jimenez, and Grosberger continue to round out the top 10. Rudolf Berezins rounding out the top 6. It's just over 8.6 tenths of a second from first to that place on the grid. Christopher Skarnet in the 915, trying to break away, just get some clean air. Salmons, a bit of a punch of frustration on the right-hand side of the steering wheel. Skarnet in clear air goes quicker still, but Kirill Dimitrievs goes to within 13 thousandths of a second in the battle for pole position. Jimenez gets pipped by Grosberger across the line for P9, and a gap by nearly 5 tenths of a second. There's Christopher Skarnet in the 915. Just keeping things very easy. Smooth is fast, as they say. It's very much true, but you can hear the Max's tyres screeching away like a good one. McCartney running in clear air. Really has been untroubled in this majority of this qualifying session. Kirill Dimitrievs is only 13 thousandths of a second behind. They're going to get one more attempt at qualifying as Christopher Skarnet, after 4 laps, goes sub 61 seconds for the first time in the session. And then Kirill Dimitrievs goes even quicker still and pips Skarnet by 0.23 of a second. 60.723 by 965 of Kirill Dimitrievs, now on provisional pole position after Christopher Skarnet, after 4 laps, and then found out a second later Dimitrievs would go quicker still. Zorce, Salmons 4th. Daniels Berezins rounding out the top 5, covered by 5.5 tenths of a second. As we head into the final couple of seconds, that's it. Checkered flag is going to be out this time. So just a handful of corners to go, and it will be the case. Can Christopher Skarnet regain that pole position as he gets his head down coming out of the final corner? Will it be an improvement? Yes, 1 minute 0.660, and Dimitrievs gets to within 63 thousandths at the flag. 1 minute 0.723, Kirill Dimitrievs. Daniels Berezins up to P3 on the last attempt in qualifying. Great job there by the number 919. Elisabetta Johan Zorce takes 4th ahead of Davis Salmons. with Haris Gladkins, Ores Revalds, Rudolf Sperezins, Edvalds Jimenez, and Daci Grosberger rounding out the 10 strong. But Christopher Kaune was leading that qualifying session for the majority of it, found that a certain upstart in the form of Kirill Dimitrev's trying to get that pole position away from him, but Kaune on his last lap, little wave there from the 915, calmly brings it home into the pit lane and into pole position. That concludes qualifying for round 3 of the season. And in just a handful of minutes, well, make that in just over 10 minutes' time, we're going to get ready to go racing for the first time here for round 3 here at Ropatso Novas. It's Micromax Heat 1 coming up shortly.
Kristen, pirms fināliem būs vai mini pauzīt?
Kārli, tātad saprati, jā? Pirmais iet pa pamattrasi, pārējais iet pa mehāniku zonu. Можешь перевести, пожалуйста? Первый, я просто напоминаю.
Samuels no rīta var nākt kājām no Vecmilgrāva.
Этот идет по параболе. Да, вот это. Да, он диктует скорость. Скорость должна быть вот на этом. Никакое ускорение. Никакого ускорения. Медленный, равномерной скорости. Это первый. Так. Tātad atcerās, neapdzen pirmo. Viņš diktē ātrumu, jā? Tātad arī nedzen pa priekšu. Kā iziet parabolā, tad uzreiz neieskrieramies. Un aizmugurēja lūdzu neizstumjam priekšēji. Mehānika zona. Sestais posms, sestais. Tev ir viss skaidrs. Tātad visi sportiņiem atgādināt. Pirmais bija izpildīšanās aplis, kas iet pa pavasarās. Pēc tam iet formēšanās aplis. Zeltainās līnijas filmē, tālāk smoklāk,
Well, welcome back, and greetings over from the F-Land Ring here in Kerpen. So I thought I'd say hello and put my face on camera for you all to see. So I hope you're all keeping well. It's been wonderful so far seeing how the championship has progressed from year to year, obviously having been involved with it since last season. Big thank you to Yanis Karajuks and his team. Of course, they're doing a fantastic always, and beautiful sunshine, perfect conditions for going racing. But obviously, let us know in the chat who you're cheering for on the live stream here on YouTube. Of course, we've got the first set of heats this afternoon. We've got the second set of heats and the pre-finals and the finals, then of course there's going to be something really, really for you all to enjoy next week when we come back here for round 4 of the Latvian Championship for RMC Latvia, but also for the final round of the ROTAX Nordic Challenge, because things have been happening in the background. Of course, you saw an earlier announcement earlier on this year. Rodrigo Taurens will be on row 2 with Toras Simnikas and Emilis Zuzaitis rounding out the top 3 rows. Remigius Kriausiunas and Ivo Os round out the final row of the grid. It's going to be 6 minutes plus an additional lap with this 1,340-meter circuit. So they have a sighting and a formation lap, and then things will be underway for the first race of the weekend. Of course, if we do get a second full start, there could be a red flag thrown into the mix on that one. So we go on to the official formation lap, and we'll be down to Oskaras Pitkovas and Carlos Bernssons to start things into position. And there is Pitkovas on the number 48, the Paralin chassis. Paralin chassis used by a man who's a 3-time FIA World Karting Champion, Italy's Lorenzo Travisanuto, who I had the pleasure of meeting at the Classic Kart Race 100cc European Grand Prix in Billund just a couple of weeks ago in Denmark. But it is the case of who is going to draw first blood here in Ropatsi Novas. Drivers being told to slow. So Pitkovas and Bernssons line up alongside each other. Paralin versus Energy Corsa on the front row. So the drivers will use the cut through, which is normally the mechanic area, and we'll go into battle for the first time this weekend. So into the tram lines, revs rise, green flag. Does it drop? No, it doesn't. That's a full start. We're going to go around again. So the drivers had to just regather themselves a little bit here. As they go to the top part of the circuit, which is very deceiving through the images you see on your screens right now. So it looks like we have all 8 drivers. So it may have been the fact that the race director or the race starter was not happy with it. So hopefully things could be a little bit more advantageous for the drivers this time, because we'll hopefully get the first race underway here at Ropatsi Novas for round 3 of ROTAX MAX Latvia Challenge here at the 333 Baltic Circuit. So out of the final corner, they split, head into the tram lines. Green flag waits, and this time drops, and it's the run down to T1. As there's going to be a dive to the inside. Oh, and one spun around at the back. That is the number 77 of Rodrigo Taurens, who started 4th, but there was a bit of a pinch point. Meantime, Oskaras Pitkovas is leading ahead of Carlos Bernssons. Looks like possibly Martins Lapins might have made his way up into 3rd, kept his position in P3. But Pitkovas had one of the drivers trying to go up the inside. That could have been the driver in 5th place, because it was an Energy Corsa chassis that tried to make its way through. So that is Toras Simnikas, who's now got Remigius Kriausiunas up the inside, dives through at the top part of the circuit. So Kriausiunas started 7th, now in 3rd place. But, oh no, and that's a spin around for Toras Simnikas. Got collected going into the next left-hander. Real shame there. But after the opening lap, it is going to be Carlos Bernssons that leads. Oh no, it's Martins Lapins ahead of Oskaras Pitkovas. Kriausiunas 3rd, Bernssons 4th, Zimnikas Juozaitis, Ivo Ors, and Rodrigo Taurins. So Taurins was the one that spun through the first corner. Bikovas trying to get Martins Lapins very, very honest indeed. So the gap is literally next to nothing between them. But Bikovas trying to be a little bit tighter on the apexes and trying to keep it pinned. 71 thousandths was the gap after the opening lap. We're on lap 2, as I think Carlos Bernsson's trying to go wheel to wheel, side pod to side pod briefly with Remigius Kliausiunas. But Kliausiunas has a lead of about 4 to 5 kart lengths. Meantime, it's next to nothing between Martins Lapins and Oskaras Bikovas as they come out of the final corner to complete the second lap of racing. 4 minutes to go. And it was 0.12 of a second. Bikovas has the run coming through into turns 1 and 2. Lapins still with those Mojo D2s screaming to high heaven at the moment. Takes a quick glance over the right shoulder into 4. Then into the right here at 5. Then into 6. 16 corners around here at Ropatianovas at the 333 Baltic Circuit. But Bikovas keeping Lapins very, very honest indeed, and coming through this double right-hander complex, trying to use a tighter racing line and really working it to his advantage. As Lapins just keeping the car parked on the racing line. Then into the left-hander, then into the right, then carry the momentum through the corner, through into the next left. A good job there by Martins Lapins, who holds on to the race lead, continuing as we do, going over the line to complete lap number 3. The gap between them was 0.12. It's now 0.1. And Bikovas trying to make things very, very much in his favour. But Carlos Bernsson's in the number 3, who is currently 3rd place at the moment. 1 minute, 0.333 is the fastest lap of the race by. The number 3 has got past Remigius Kliausiunas and is now starting to make a bit of hay, making a bit of hay at the moment, so to speak, trying to close in on Bikovas. They've still got 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go, plus an additional lap in this opening heat. They'll be the first ones to kickstart things off tomorrow morning at 10 past 10 local time here. All 8 drivers, including Rodrigo Taurins, continuing to circulate around the track. 2 minutes to go. Lap 4 now gets completed by Martins Lapins and Oskaras Bikovas. The gap between them was again pretty much bang on 1/10 of a second. Bernsson's P3, Kliausiunas 4th. Now Bernsson's another new fastest lap and has got the gap down to about 7.5 tenths, maybe even less than that in this first, in the first couple of laps since having dropped past behind Kliausiunas. And again, Lapins swinging the kart wide through that double right-hander. And Bikovas really needs to make a good go at it, but Carlos Bernson is closing on in very, very quickly indeed. So it's going to come down to the wire. We are going to be coming down to the penultimate lap of this race. So lap 5 gets completed. We're going to go on to the 6th and penultimate lap out of 7. And look at Bernsson's. He's right with Bikovas. And it's just gone sub 60 seconds in this session, 59.795. So Bikovas is the Paralin meet in an Energy Corsa chassis at the moment. And with time fast running out, Lapins looking over the right shoulder. Bikovas just trying to keep the blinkers on like a prime racing horse. And again, leans a little bit into the corner, just keeping the traction down on the right-hand side wheels. Bernsson's looking every which way, left, right, up and down, you know where, it could be anywhere. That driver is looking at the moment. But it is going to be coming down to the final lap as finally Bikovas makes the move up the inside and Bernsson's gets through as well on lap-ins. So 1 more lap to go and Oskaras Bikovas now finally has the race lead as we go on to the last lap of this race into turns 1 and 2 for the final time. Top 3 covered by 3 tenths. Now into the left at 3. And Pitkovas making a textbook move, but that's a dive up the inside from Martins Lappins. Gets 2 for the price of 1. And now Bernsons goes for the race lead up the inside and clashes wheels with the number 69. This is going to allow possibly Remigius Kliausiunas to close on in the dying seconds of this race. It's back as we were a little bit earlier on for the second from last corner. But a couple of positions being swapped. As all Lappins looking up the inside of Kovas. And a little bit of a rub. But that is going to allow Carlos Berensons, the number 3, who was on the outside of the front row just over 7-8 minutes ago. And Carlos Berensons picks up the opening heat win here at Ropatsi Novas. Second will be Martins Lappins. Third will be Oskaras Pitkovas. Remigius Kliausiunas with Emilis Juozaitis, Tauras Simnikas, Ivo Os, and Rodrigo Taurins rounding out all 8 drivers that finished that. But, well, some great dueling and dicing in the last couple of laps. Drivers deciding to go for 2 for the price of 1. That's exactly what happened. There is your provisional race results for Micro Heat 1. Carlos Berensons picking up the race win out of Martins Lappins, and Oskaras Pitkovas second covered them at the end of that 7-lap adventure with Remigius Kliausiunas, Emilis Juozaitis, Tauras Simnikas, Ivo Os, and Rodrigo Taurins. Well, I've just seen in the meantime, as we see the replay of the Micromax drivers go out onto the circuit, you're going to see the squeeze here. And that was, I think, Lappins getting through, but there was the spin for Rodrigo Taurins. And that moment there for number 88. But we've had a second steward's decision that Carlos Bricius for the DD2 Masters was disqualified post-qualifying, was 178 kilograms. Minimum weight for a DD2 Masters driver, 180 kilos. So Carlos Bricius, unfortunately, disqualified post-qualifying. Now we go on to our next race. Let's take you through the grid for Heat 1. For Minimax, Jack Collinson starts from pole position. And alongside him on the front row will be Mayus Mazinas. Juris Pluxner and Rodrigo Kakers will be on row 2 ahead of Patrikos Jokius and Martin Streber. Mikko Grantins and Klaus Hans round out row 4. Row 5, it's Jonas Pundis and Alex Menezes, with Dominic Stargis, Keta Spike, and Marks Kononovs rounding out the 15-strong grid. Jack Collinson really can stride away into the distance if he does a pretty good weekend in the office. Now, he did a double victory in the finals and the finals last time out at Snelsner at round 2, which was 2 months ago. But these drivers have been competing all over the shop. Like I said, Jack Collinson, fresh from Kart Masters, the Motorsport UK British Kart Masters, the British, the Motorsport UK Kart Masters British Kart Grand Prix. Of course, people who were also there competing was one Gustav Zuzakovs, who I think might not. Let me have a look at the entry list. Is he on there? Is he on there? I can't see. Hang on. Yes, he decided not to venture out here. But the thing is, it's great to have young drivers that have come through. I still remember when Gustavs was a Mini-Max driver. First, then met his dad, Yanis. As they say, I've got to know the family very, very well. But it's Collinson versus Mazinas on the front row of the grid. Buxnard and Karkas, row 2. Jokius and Driver, row 3. Grantins, Hans, Pundis, and Menezes round out the top 10. 6 minutes plus an additional lap of the circuit here. All remaining heats after this one will be 7 minutes plus an additional lap. So it gets everyone into the racing rhythm, ready for tomorrow morning. And now Jack Collinson saying to everyone, right, just want to make the start go well, guys. Let's just keep it nice and slow. And that is perfect crawling pace for the drivers. Out through the mechanics area, into the tram lines we go. All Granton's nearly makes a mistake, but the flag does not drop on the first time of asking. About halfway point of the championship season, and everyone's it doesn't matter which round of the championship. It could be the first, it could be the last. It doesn't really matter. But what's more, the pressure cooker situation continues all the way through the season. So they've got to control out, delete, do it all over again. So 6 minutes plus an additional lap here in the first of two mini-max heats. And Collinson and Mazinas controlling the pace very, very nicely indeed. They want to make sure that they keep the anticipation high for the audience, but also that they make sure that the start is a clean one. We had a full start in the Micromax, and then, yeah, this is really cool where they're all of the same age, but more to the point, it's a case of they understand they want to go racing. Don't want a red flag, and then the wrath of the race director coming to them saying, "You know what you need to do." So green flag waits. Race starter telling the drivers to slow. Collinson and Mazinas leads the drivers into the tram lines. The green flag drops, and a great start by Jack Collinson. Mazinas straight away to cover off the likes of Pluxner and Garkas going into turns 1, 2, and 3 on the opening tour. But a good start there by Patrikos Iokias. Looks to be up into fourth already. Now into the infield section that will lead them onto the back part of the circuit. Nice little free-flowing chicane here. You can really touch the apex hard and also carry the speed through as you go into the back part of the circuit for the first time. Collinson hanging on in front of Mazinas, but there's been a couple of drivers going a little bit wide at the back of the field. And Mazinas looking up the inside into the next left-hander at the top part of the circuit. Gets through, gets the race lead off of Jack Collinson, who instantly fires back the number 191. Might try to look to the inside. Mazinas shuts off the door. And that is going to put Collinson between a rock and a hard place at the moment as they come through to complete the opening lap. So after lap 1, Marius Mazinas leads the way. Second is Jack Collinson. Third is Rodrigo Garkas. Juris Pluxner, Patrikos Iokias, and Rodrigo Garkas rounding out the top 5. So Dominic Stargis and Alex Menezes having the incident as there's a textbook move up the inside through the sweeping right. That was Collinson through on Mazinas, who was able to quickly capitalise, and Collinson's going to go for it again. He's getting very aggressive. He's got his elbows out and sharpened, and he gets the touch from behind, but that's going to make it 3 wide behind him, and Patrikos Iokias loses out big time. 1-2-5 from GS Racing Club ends up hung out to dry a little bit as it's really getting a bit fast and frantic, let's say. Martin Strebe now up into third place behind Marius Mazinas. Collinson cuts off the door. Driver dives up the inside of Mazinas and gets through at the next turn. That would have been turn number 14. And Collinson now has a lead. That's going to be at least a quarter of a second. Make that half a second. Driver now P2. Mazinas, Pluxner, Garkas round out the top 5. Patrikos Iokias, having gone wide early doors just 1 lap ago, now finds himself right at the back of this train, and it's a quintet of them. They've got to start chasing down Jack Collinson, who's starting to scamper away. Coming up to 3.5 minutes to go, plus an additional lap, and Jack Collinson looks to expand that gap, which is at the moment half a second. That depends on Martin Strebe in P2, Marius Mazinas in P3, Juris Pluxner P4, Rodrigo Garkas and Patrikos Iokias running at the top 6. Fastest lap of the race so far, down in 10th place, Gator Spike, I would imagine probably more than likely related to Marta, who should be, I think, is in competition this weekend. Normally runs under the 366. Marta is running this weekend, but battle for 5th place. Rodrigo Garkas being pressurised by Patrikos Iokias in the 125 is going to dive up the inside, maybe get the move done and completed. Yes, he does. Parks it on the racing line. That says to Rodrigo Kakas, you are not going to get through. But Collinson keeping a very, very keen eye on proceedings, even though he's only having to glance over his shoulder. Martin Staver being pressurised by Nicolas Mazinas. Sorry, Mayas Mazinas. But again, it's just about those bits and pieces of information that you need. Where you look at what happens, and Mayas Mazinas, new fastest lap of the race, 58.011. As we go on to lap 5, Jack Collinson has a lead of 0.4 of a second. Martin Staber, new fastest top of the circuit, 57.674. Head of Mazinas, but the top 3 running sub 58 seconds. That's good for them. That's worse for the others. So the likes of Juras Pluxner, the likes of Rodrigo Kakas, the likes of Patrikos Jokius, who ran out the top 6, they are running Pluxner low 58s, Kakas 58.3, Jokius 58.2. Dreber did a high 57.6, and Collinson low 57.8. Mayas was in a high 57.7. So the top 3 lapping within a tenth and a half of each other on pure race pace. But the fact is, Martin Staber is trying to pull and reel Jack Collinson in, but he's got to do that with the assistance of Mayas Mazinas, who might have an ulterior motive, might not want to go with Staber in order to close in on Collinson, but more to the point of, let's see if he makes a mistake, because if I've got the pace on him, I'll have him. And on that particular occasion, Mazinas was the quickest of the top 3. Nearly by a tenth when it came to Collinson. Dreber was only fractionally ahead by about 21 thousandths of a second. A very, very clean battle at the front end of the field here. Jack Collinson continuing to lead the way and just calmly getting on with the business at hand. Don't worry about what is happening behind you. Worry about your race. As Mayas Mazinas up the inside, Martin Staver through at turn number 14 and gets the job done. 2 laps to go. So lap 7 starts now. Collinson leading by half a second. Mazinas, Dreber ran out the top 3. Dreber putting Mazinas under pressure. So the boot on the other foot, so to speak. Meanwhile, look at this squabble. Patrikos Jokius, Juras Pluxner, Rodrigo Kakers, Jonas Pundis. That's a very, very feisty, very highly paced quartet at the moment. This is for the battle. This could be a very good move here by Patrikos Jokius. He gets through. Oh, and squeezes Pluxner. Touches 2 wheels on the grass. And Pluxner went upwards and sideways all at the same time, with all 4 wheels leaving terra firma. But we've only got 1 more lap to go. And this is where it's going to count. Last lap underway. Collinson takes a look over the left shoulder, not once, but twice. Mazinas and Dreber rounding out the top 3, as Juras Pluxner finding that Patrikos Jokius is giving him some stick from behind. That's the battle for P4 and P5. Jonas Bundis, Mikls Grantins rounding out the top 7. Rodrigo Kakas after that code brown and clean up on aisle 3 just a few corners ago rounds out the top 8. But Jack Collinson is very, very calm, very composed. Wise head on young shoulders, they would say. He's doing exactly what he needs to do. Once Mayas Mazinas got through on him, he went, right, I need to get that lead back. And he was absolutely ruthless. But it was calm, it was coolly done. And what's more, that has helped him to pick up another victory. There we go, Jack Collinson again wins in Minimax here at RMC Latvia. And he wins by 0.4 of a second ahead of Mayas Mazinas. Martin Staber, Patrikos Jokius finally gets through on Juras Pluxner for P4. Jonas Pundis, Mikls Grantins, Rodrigo Kakas, Klaus Hans, Alex Menezes running at the top 10. Kater Spike completing 11th with Dominic Stargis and Marks Gutmanovs running at the top 13. And I love the fact that we're getting the Anglo-Latvian connection. MRG Racing and Sam Pollitt Racing. Kart stickered for the team here, and the race suit for the driver when he runs over in the United Kingdom. So, here are your provisional results. Jack Collinson winning by 0.4 of a second after 8 laps. Head of Majas Mazinas, Martin Streber, Patrikas Jokius, Juris Bruxner, Jonas Bundis, Mikkel Grantins, Rodrigo Kakers, Klaus Hans, and Alex Menezes running at the top 10. Keita Spike, Dominic Stargis, and Marks Kononovs completing the finishing order. So, 2 races down, and we've got another 5 to go before we conclude today's racing. So we are running a couple of minutes behind schedule, but not too much to worry about. Now we go to the first of 5 7-minute heats, and here is your starting grid for Junior Rotax. Fernando Pemner will start on pole position in the 277, joined alongside on the front row by Marcus Jauk in the 288. Adrian Tions and Elise Stolchamani, the top 2 in the championship, coming into this round, line up on row number 2. Hans Marcus Nurus and Eloisa Sekavicius will be on row 3 ahead of Robin Semet and Tom Scheller. Marco Plinter and Timus Peserica round out the top 10, with Gabriel Moises and Freddy Karastik rounding out the 12-strong grid. So the drivers now getting themselves ready for this formation lap. So they've already had a sighting lap. They've already done pre-practice all the way through the day. They've done time qualifying, and now they've got an opportunity to go out and get some racing under the belts and get that adrenaline buzz that they so love. And the junior class, very much a real big building block. And then you go into seniors. A bit more weaving there from Elisa Stolchamani, the younger sister of Thomas Stolchamanis. Never gets old, however, no matter how many times I say it. But I've watched Thomas grow through the ranks. Now seeing Elisa doing the same, following in her brother's footsteps. This goes to show that the apple doesn't fall that far from the tree in the Stolchamanis and the Stolchamani family. So, through the cut through, 7 minutes on the timer, plus an additional lap. The green flag is ready to drop at a moment's notice as Pemre and Jauk lead us into the tram lines. Revs rise, first time of asking, an all big sideways moment there for Marcus Jauk. Drops him down through the field. Elisa Stolchamani finds herself on the outside of turn 2. Could lose a possible position or 2. She's down from 4th already. But Adrian Tions got an absolute launch and a half. He's up to P2 and chasing down Fernando Pemre, who's in 3rd. Marcus Jauk now having to battle with Hans Marcus Nurusk, the Estonian, who's gone for the crisscross here. Oh, and he's going to get the job done. That's a nice move there from Hans Marcus Nurusk. Robin Semet also in the mix there, and that's Hans Marcus Nurusk off the circuit, and he's around. Oh dear. Not exactly how you want to start your weekend. You get a brilliant move, and then all of a sudden it just goes horribly wrong. Lisa Stolchamani, however, gets her elbows out and starts fighting. Young lady running with RM Latvia on the Sodica chassis. As Adrian Tions looks to close in on Fernando Pemre. Michael Plinter now moves up to P4 ahead of Stolchamani. Semet and Peseri can round out the top 7. Moises, a bit of a drama. Well, Tom Streller hasn't had an easy start to this weekend. getting pressurised by Pesarica. Stolchamani trying to put the frighteners on Plinter. And that's going to be a great move. She pulls that one off into the next left-hander at the top part of the circuit. Shades of Mazinas versus Collinson in the mini-max heat just a few minutes ago. Great move there from Elisa Stolchamani to get through. That's her up to P4. Meanwhile, front end of the field, the battle is still stalemated at the minute. Permanently leading Tions by 2.5 tenths of a second. That's a further 2 seconds back. Not too sure if Elisa Stolchamani was suffering with a little bit of chronic understeer, but she tried to turn the car into turn 2. Steering seemed a bit unresponsive. Plinton nearly went into the back of her. Semet nearly also came a cropper at that point. But Tom Strella, in the meantime, has now started to close on in on Pesarica in 7th place. Tions just calmly going on with the business at hand as we are coming up to 4.5 minutes plus an additional lap to go in this opening junior heat of the weekend. Well, Hans Markus Narusk, it looks like maybe there's been a technical issue. Possible chain has come off, possible axle bent. And the 255, well, he was looking pretty strong, might have been able to go for a top 3. Ended up being, I think, exited a corner, was assisted onto the grass, and that caused all hell to break loose for the 255 from Estonia. So a real shame there for Hans Markus Narusk. However, Elisa Stolchamani gunning for 3rd place at the minute, as she has about 3 minutes and 50 seconds, plus an additional lap. Fastest lap of the race so far. Tom Strella, 54.727. No surprise there. One of the top talents. There's been a fastest-time Nordic challenge winner. And very competitive in his own right. As Elisa Stolchamani round the outside, that's going to be a bit brave to try and do and pull off on that kind of left-hander. Went high wide to the outside of Marcus Jauk, as Henry Baudet would say. She's trying to do a Slim Shady round the outside. However, Tom Strella gets through on Robin Semet, who comes straight into the clutches, I think, of Timus Pesarica. Tom Strella got through on Robin Semet and just literally forced him out so wide. The 263 was thrown straight to the walls. Okay, Timus Pesarica. And I think that's also the 227 with the lows of Teperis. Gabriel Moisey's not too far behind that. Tom Strella, a new another fastest lap of the race by over 2 tenths at 54.668 for the 238, based out of Murupe, the surrounding areas of Riga. And got to know the family very, very well. But Pemnet leads by 8 tenths ahead of Tions. Stolchamani, 3rd. Jauk, Strella, Semet, Pesarica, Plinter now drops down to 8th place. Sekavicius, 9th. Moises, dearie me. Now that is something you can't do, Robin Semet, I'm afraid. Too much movement in the braking zone. That was more than one move. You can defend once, understandable. You try and defend a couple more times than that in the same area of real estate, you may attract the attention of the race stewards. Fernando Permner, in the meantime, is the fastest driver out on circuit at the moment, 54.434 seconds. Stolchamani holding on and stabilising this battle for P3. It's all kicking off behind with Semet, Pesarica and Plinter. They're all bumping each other a little bit. So be very, very careful. With regards to that, because if you get a clicked-in bumper, that is automatically 5 seconds added to your total race time. So we're on lap 7. Marcus Jauk coming through into that right-hander we just saw. The back end was literally sliding left to right. So you can see that Jauk doesn't have such a compliant cart as what Tom Strella does. Strella dives up the inside. Is there going to be a touch between the pair? Very, very close. Strella has to back out of it. Very, very wise decision there from Tom Strella. That he did not want to affect any kind of attention coming his way out on the circuit, as the leaders are on the penultimate lap. We're on lap 8 out of 9. Elisa Stolchamani now has clear daylight. When it comes to P3, Tom Strehler swings the kart to the outside through into turns 1 and 2 to try and get the carryover into 3. Doesn't really work there. Now into the right-hander at 4, dives up the inside, does the 2:38, and that's him up to 4th place. Good work there. Just waiting, didn't decide to force the issue a few corners ago, but made sure that once the opportunity was there and presented, it was easier to take there than it was further around the circuit. Timer has expired for the first heat for juniors. As in the meantime, well, there is our drivers in 3rd and 4th. Permino takes the last lap board with a 1.1 second advantage over Adrian Tions. Elisa Stolchamani, Tom Strehler, Marcus Jauk, Robin Semet, Marco Plinta ran out the top 8 ahead of Gabriel Moises, Aloisa Sekavicius, Freddy Karastik rounding out the 11 that are still running, with Hans Markus Nerusk unfortunately retiring on the opening lap. But Fernando Permino has done exactly the right thing. He's led from lights out to checkered flag. Adrian Tions gave him something to think about early doors in the race. The 2:77, very much now. Keeping off the curbs, keeping off the dust, keeping off the dirt, keeping off everything apart from the blue the grey tarmac with the lots of rubber lines. But out of the final corner, Fernando Permino wins Heat 1 for juniors. Second, it was comfortable and a cruise to the line for second place finisher Adrian Tions. Elisa Stolchamani takes third ahead of Tom Strehler. Difficult qualifying for the 2:38, I must confess. Marcus Jauk all the way down to 5th at the flag ahead of Robin Semet, Timus Peserica, Marco Plinta, Gabriel Moises, and Aloisa Sekavicius rounding out the top 10. Freddy Karastik finishing a lap down. Hans Markus Nerusk out with drama on the opening lap of that race. Next up, it's Heat 1 for seniors. So just some of the highlights from the racing action so far. That was a big, big moment there in the juniors. I think that might have been Freddie Kadistik. There's the Micromax drivers and the big old squeeze. 3 wide into turn 1 doesn't really go. And then a spin around at the back. And more chaos and calamity a little bit further along. But Oskaras Pitkovas just showcasing why the number 46, the number 48 is one of the drivers to watch amongst others. But Carlos Benassons, I think, has also had the interest of the stewards going his way. And this is the start for Mini. Got to the point where Myas Mazinas got through on Jack Collinson, but Collinson was like a whirling dervish. There was a big moment there for Rodrigo Carcas, and this is the race that we just had. You can just see how close it was, and this was the moment. Oh, yeah, that was why Marcus Jauk has now been asked to go to the stewards. A few more stewards' decisions coming in. So Klaus Hans in Mini, 5-second time penalty for out of position front fairing. Marks Kononov's the same in Minimax. Emilis Uazaitis, Micromax, 5-second time penalty for incorrect positioned front fairing. So some dramas, but also overall some very, very good racing so far. There is the recovery vehicle bringing in one of the carts. So after juniors, we now move to seniors, and let's take you through the starting grid for their first heat. 7 minutes plus an additional lap. And after time qualifying this morning, Artem Sestakovs will start on pole position. And who has he got alongside him? Oscar Savitsky on the front row. So 3:57 and 3:59. Then it's the 3:21 and 3:18 of Kasper Joipera and Bruno Perlo, row 2. Romans Rodinos and Tonis Johannes Dominguez will be on row 3. Galis Kirikovs and Arturs Anilevskis will be on row number 4, with Marta Spike joined by Ilya Sheremeta on row number 5, completing the top 10. 16, might be 15 competitors in this, because we're due to have Noyes Sheroditis, Kate Robiseva, Rikard Skikolis, Rikard Rikstins, Dovidas Kudlevicius, and Oliver Kerg. Oliver Kerg not taking part in timed qualifying earlier on today. So the big question is, was there an issue that stopped the 363 from getting onto? Because if there was a technical hold-up or there was a problem with the kart not being ready in time, that can sometimes happen when mechanics are under pressure to get the karts ready and be at the sometimes you are working on a kart so fastidiously, and the mechanics and the teams are also unsung heroes in many respects, but especially when you've got the privateers that you have to consider as well. But it is going to be the case of what is going to happen at the start, because normally with senior Rotax, things do get a bit on the chaotic side, let's say. But it is down to Sestakovs and Savitsky to keep the pace at the front end of the field. And after they've used this cutoff, they will then use the full layout of this 1,340-meter circuit. All the mind games are starting already. Sestakov's trying to put one up on Savitsky, but into the tram lines we go. The revs start to build. The flag does not drop. Oh, we nearly got a good start there. However, it was decided otherwise. So they go round for another tour. Not a bad thing, to be honest with you. Helps the drivers have a little bit of a reset point and have an opportunity to clear things up, just refocus the mind. Put the blinkers on and just go, right, okay, shouldn't be an issue. So top 10, Sestakovs, Savitsky, Joipera, Perla, Rodinos, Dominguez, Kirikovs, Danilevskis, Spike, and Sheremeta. So 7 minutes on the clock, plus an additional lap. We'll have 3 more races to conclude the day's action here at Ropatsi for round 3 of ROTAX Max Challenge Latvia. Oh, that was nearly a bit of a scare there for the 331 of Douglas Gulevicius. And Oliver Kerg has joined the back of the grid. Here we go into the tram lines once again. Bit of a spread out start, but are they going to let them go? Yes, they are. And a good start by Sestakovs. Savitsky gets hung out to dry a little bit, as Kasper Joipera might have gotten through, but someone's gone a bit wide, and there's been a bit of a melee in the middle. Right, okay. One of which was the 302 of Tonis Johannes Dominguez. And if I see the 362, well, it could be the 362. I've got a feeling it might be Carlos Kirikovs, because they were very close in proximity. But it looks like it's been a very, very good start for possibly Marta Spike, the number 366, running with RM Latvia. And there she is with the bright pink race helmet. That's going to be the 331. The Lusker Levicius, who's made up a lot of places. Difficult qualifying for that driver. They come through into turn number 14, into 15, and into turn 16. But who is leading the way? Well, it's Artem Sestakovs by a country mile. Kasper Joipera, and it's, Carlos Kirikovs. Gulevicius now up to 4th. Marta Spike now 5th. And it was Roman Zrodionov's. I thought it might be. And there is one off the circuit. Now, could that be Kekulis or could that be Rodionov's? Oh, now someone's jumping up and down in the cart. That is possibly Savitsky. Oh, Savitsky's dropped all the way down to 13th. Now the gloves are really off. It's like a bare-knuckle boxing match in the minute. Oh, as Kate Troviseva gets a scare, courtesy of the 363 of Oliver Kerr. And Kate was up to 7th at that point. Kirikov's up the inside of Joipera. That's for P2. Alice Kirikov's one of the most talkative people I've ever met at a paddock in my life. And then I got told the running gag that if he doesn't get a career in motor racing, he might make a very good politician. But Sestikovs has a lead of 1.5 seconds over Kirikov's. Joipera, Spike up to 4th place. Marta Spike has just been absolutely flying. Kind of she could be the Latvian equivalent of 2-time European senior ROTAX champion, Sweden's Matilda Olsson. Very, very quick. Last year was her first year as a senior. Now we're waiting for the move from Gold Kasper Joipera to get through on Carlis Kirikovs, but Marta Spike is closing in. Joipera goes to move to the outside. Kirikov starts to defend. Makes the back end of that 309 cart as wide as humanly possible. Through the final corner, this is allowing Sestikovs to pull away. Spike to close on in. Sheremetyev up to 5th. Started 10th. Joipera gets through at turn 1 on Kirikovs. And the gap between Kirikovs, Joipera and Spike was 0.6 of a second last time round after the opening 3 laps. Marta Spike really starting to come good in her second year as a senior driver, and now starting to play with the big guns. And you have to consider that Carlos Kirikovs last year was a junior. Kirikovs trying to put Joipera under pressure. Has to hit the halfway point in this race. Still, not much to call between these drivers. Gulevicius down in 8th place. Last time round set the fastest lap of the race, 53.263. Sestikovs, well, just at a 53.3. Joipera, 53.4. Kirikovs, 53 high, a high 53.6. Marta Spike, 53.395. So there is clear pace from the number 366. Oliver Kerr, 5th place, 53.5, 53.3, mid 53.3. Ilya Sheremetyev, 47. So, still, this battle here for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place continues unabated. 2 minutes and 35 seconds plus an additional lap to go. And it is going to come down to the wire. But also, the 3 have got another 2 behind them. Marta Spike is going to try and see if there's a possible move in the offing through turn 2, but can't make it stick. But it's about just biding time, waiting, patience. They do say that is a virtue. As the sun starting to show signs of a little bit of setting here in Ropatzinovas, but in the meantime, what can happen is there's a big old gaggle, and right stuck in the middle of it is Oscar Zavitsky, who started on the front row and probably did not want to find himself down outside of the top 10 and being ahead of Roman Zrodionov's. But Sestikovs has got a comfortable lead of about 2.2 seconds. Joipera, Kirikov, Spike, Kerg, Sheremetyev, Gulevicius, they're all within earshot of each other, and that's a quintet there. So 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, rounded out by Ilya Sheremetyev. Dovydas Gulevicius is the first driver in this race to go sub 53 seconds. 52.979. Kerg, who started from the back end of the grid, let's not forget, has closed on into Marta Spike. for that 4th place. There's still an opportunity with just under a minute to go. Sestakov's still going to be leading by quite a bit. It was 2.2 seconds. Make that 2.5. Joyper is still holding on to 2nd. Kidikov's in 3rd. Spike in 4th. Kurg in 5th. That is actually the kart that I mentioned earlier on that was on the side of the circuit. That was number 372 of Rikards Kikulis. So 10 seconds on the timer remains, and now Karlis Kidikov starting to show a sign of urgency. The timer counts down. We hit 0. Next time will be the last lap. Sestakovs has a clear gap in front and behind him. Clear track is definitely what you want at the front end of the field. It's going to be the battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, maybe even 6th place come the end of it. As Joyper, Kidikovs and Spike come through into turns 1 and 2. Still nip and tuck between them, but Marta Spike could have an opportunity here to close on in and pass Karlis Kidikovs, who is between a rock and a hard place at the moment. And there goes Marta Spike diving up the inside through the chicane. That's a great move there from the 366. Quickly got through, blocked off the door, stayed up the racing line, and now Kidikovs has got Oliver Kurg towards his inside, and they're starting to battle away. So the 366 timed that move to absolute perfection and got through. And Kidikovs now starting to get a bit messy in terms of his approach on the racing line. And now they've got Sheremetyev and Goodlevicius right with them. It is going to be the fact that Artyom Sestakovs is going to pick up the win by a comfortable margin. And he wins by 2.3 seconds. Jon Kasper Joyper, Marta Spike from down towards the bottom part of the top 10 finishes P3. Great effort from the driver from RM Latvia. Karlis Kidikovs holds on to 4th head of Oliver Kurg. Dovidas Goodlevicius takes 6th head of Ilya Sheremetyev. Kate Robiseva, Tonis Johannes Tomingas, Bruno Perle rounds out the top 10 head of Roman Zrodinovs, Oskar Savitsky, Noya Sherelaitis, Artur Danilevskis, with Rikards Rikstins rounding out the 15 finishers, and Rikards Kikulis completing. Well, actually, unfortunately, didn't even make it to the end of lap 1, but what a race. More in the offing for that tomorrow, I think, in Senior Rotax as we look back at some of the highlights. So, after an exciting senior heat, we go to DD2. Let's take you through the starting grid, this one, and this could be the bigger firecracker than what we had just a few seconds ago. Patrick Snolls, Loch Mellis and Thomas Videsins on the front row of the grid, with Thomas Rudokas and Martin Zinovskis on row 2. Rikas Vikvargas and Christian Zemis are on row 3, with Elmars Mikkelsens and Andres Upkaup on row 4. Carlos Garkaklis and Fritz Sai rounding out the top 10. Then we have got we've got the likes of Ricards Kalnsims, Jerusalaitis, Miklas Mazinis, Martin Silt, Ivaras Us, Armin Skanks, Martin Rollis, and Ignun rounding out the 18-strong grid. So, Galaka Kliss taking pole position in DD2 Masters, like we saw a couple of months ago at Smelton. Of course, as I said, a lot of people have been racing all over the place. A few of the drivers making sure that they went to the place where legends are born, Le Mans, for this year's international trophy. Still a lot of competitions going on around the globe in terms of ROTAX competition, including this weekend ROTAX Germany and Belgium. The Latvian Karting are currently situated at the moment. Also got the BNL Karting Series. We've got the ROTAX Euro Trophy, the CEE, CEZ. So I think coming up this month for ROTAX, we have the US Trophy Finals at Newcastle Motorsports Park in Indiana, which will be in 2 weeks' time. So the drivers waiting with bated breath. The audience in the paddock, and for those watching at home, well, we saw that DD2s last year at this very circuit, called the Nordic Challenge, DD2s were the only ones that got a start. They got all their starts timed down to perfection. So this is going to be very, very crucial when it comes to this, because Thomas Birsins leads by a huge margin, 112 points. Martin Zianovskis is its closest competitor on 68. But they have got things underway at the first time of asking. So, well, Hans Markus Nurusk got a penalty in the juniors. Coming through thick and fast because Kikulis and seniors, well, left 2 wheels outside of the tram lines on the start. But in the meantime, well, there's a bit of a ding-dong battle going on for third place between Martin Zianovskis and Thomas Rudorkas. Zianovskis currently rounding out third place, but the 2 at the front end of the field, Oshveles and Ostins leading the way. Third, it's going to be Zianovskis. Fourth, Rudorkas. Veg Vargas, Jean Zemes rounding out the top 6. Carl Mikkelsen's Pritsai has got through on Harald's Garkaklis for the lead in the DD2 Masters class, but Garkaklis through the next right-hander manages to get through and retake that 9th position, giving him back the race lead in DD2 Masters. Be very, very careful. Oh, a bit of a moment there. That was for, I think, possibly Ricards Kalnsims, maybe. Oh, nearly 3 wide. Going through into that next right-hander. As Dicker, that could have gotten Nicholas Mazinas getting stuck on the inside of that. Kliss on the outside, Pritsai on the middle. He was Piggy in the middle. Oh, dearie, dear. They are. Ivars Us is now getting his elbows out on the 520, number 520 Sony card entry. Near the Mojo D5s, squealing in agony at the moment. Thomas Rudorkas in 4th place, has the fastest lap of the race so far. Is going to get a bit fast and frantic at the front end of the field. And the reason being is that the top 4 are very, very closely packed. And when you have the likes of Lotchmanis, you have the likes of Birsins, Zianovskis. You never know when that might happen, that they could find themselves between a rock and a hard place, and that could be very much true right here. Rudorkas trying to put the frighteners on Zianovskis for that third place. There you see the top four last time round after 3 laps covered by just over 6/10. And Rudokas, fastest lap of the race so far, 52.792. Anyone might remember last year we actually had a DD2 race where the lead changed 3 times over the first 3 laps. So we had, I think it was Birsins, Janowskis, and then Shurkov, if I remember correctly. Of course, Maxim Shurkov not competing this round, but still the top 4 line is set. Half a second covered them after 4 laps. This could be very, very intense, and also the fact that Ricardo Vargas is starting to close on. He's about a second behind Rudokas. And at the minute, well, who is leading DD2 Masters? At the moment, it is Ricards Kalnsins down in 9th place. Of course, the light cyan blue is for DD2. The dark navy blue is for the Masters. At the moment, Patrick Lochmelis is still holding onto that lead. Martin Tinovskis trying to look for a move through on Thomas Birsins. Rudokas waiting in the wings just to hold fire and see what might happen. Oh, dive attempt from Janowskis. Through on Birsins, through at the next right-hander. Couldn't get the job done. Rudokas again, like I said, just waiting in the wings. And that gap between Rudokas and Vargas is now coming down. It was 9/10 of a second last time around. It could be even closer still. It just depends on how much Janowskis holds off Rudokas, who is now showing signs of urgency rather than desperation. He needs to get past, and he's now trying to say to Rudokas, well, if you want to get past me, you've got to do it. You've got to make that move stick. Stop giving me the jet. Stop trying to... and the thing is, Rudokas is using this to help himself. And the gap now, well, that was another quick lap, well, 52.939 from Ricardo Vargas, which is a personal best in the race. Lochmelis, mid 52.9. Birsits, high 52.8. Janowskis, low 53.3. Rudokas, mid 53.2. You can see that the youngster 426 has the slightly better purchase. Obviously, yes, he is lighter, so the power to weight ratio is going to be a little bit better. And then he dives through up the inside, but just catches himself out. And Janowskis straight away retakes advantage and gets through on him. Entire field covered by 18.2 seconds. 2 laps to go. And Lochmelis only 2.5 tenths ahead of Tomasz Birsins. Martin Janowskis and Thomas Rudokas ran at the top 4, and they're still battling away. They've lost ground to Birsins and Lochmelis, but they've also gained another competitor, a new challenger, so to speak, Ricardo Vargas. But it has been, I wouldn't say a procession. There have been some really, really good bits of racing here, but it is a case of in DD2 and DD2 Masters, to finish first you have to finish. But it is going to come down to what will be the final lap very shortly. So lap 8 now completed. 1 more lap to go for DD2 and the DD2 Masters, and Lochmelis leads by 2 tenths. Teammate Birsins. Janowskis and Rudokas still intertwined at the side pod. They're about 2 tenths of a second of the part of each other. They've got Ricardo Vargas about half a second behind. Christian Zemis in 6th. Andreas Hulkup and Elmars Mikkelsen's running at the top 8. Ricards Kalnsins leads Prit side by 1.7 seconds. And Hanos Garkaklis rounding out the top 3 in DD2 Masters. But coming down to the final few corners, our 2 leaders, Lochmelis and Birsins, come through the top part of the circuit. What is going to be the final time? Into the next left-hander they go. Was that Rudokas up the inside of Janowskis? I think it very well could have been, because out of the final corner, well, it's going to be a 1-2 flying formation. Lochmelis best Birsins. Janowskis holds on to 3rd. Rudokas did get through, but funnily enough, might have made a slight youthfully exuberant mistake and finished just over a tenth behind. Ricardo Vargas takes 5th ahead of Christian Zemis. with Andres Subkout and Elmars Mikkelsen's rounding out the 8 in DD2. Fritz Sai finishes second behind Rickard Kalnsims, who picks up the first heat win of the weekend for DD2 Masters. Adolf Skokaklis in 11th, P3 in the class. And then Mikolas Mazinas, Yurosolitis, Ivazus, Arman Skanks, Martin Silt, Martin Zrolis, and Ignum rounding out the 18 strong. All of them finished the race. 2 more to go after this one, as we've got our DD2 amateur, DD2 heavy, and DD2 master about to head out onto the circuit as the rest of the DD2 and DD2 masters field makes their way into platform 8 and scrutineering after their opening heat of the weekend. So let's take you through the following grid for amateur, DD2, DD2 master, and DD2 heavy. So the way things stand based on lap time, well, Rodrigo Frams, who is the fastest overall, will start from pole position. Hans Pavlov will be alongside on the front row, and is the only Masters driver. Then you've got Maris Lochelis, Marcus Spikis, Kristaps Kalixons, who is a DD2 driver, Dimitris Antonovics, Martin Spikis, Artur Zenis, Yuri Spikis, Edmund Zuskovics, and Talis Brisis rounding out the grid. Now, Zuskovics did not take part in qualifying. However, Talis Brisis did not take his place on the grid where he should have been, which would have been pole position, because being down 2 kilos underweight. You can see a little bit of, well, more than just a little bit, quite a bit of grey cloud cover overhead. So, as with the previous races, we'll have 7 minutes plus an additional lap on the timer After this, it'll be one more race to go till it's in T4 before we conclude festivities here today. So the field makes its way into the cut-off area for the first attempt of a rolling start. So let's see if we can get things underway at the first time of asking. So into the tram lines, and they do let them go. Oh, Sody Kart at the back end of the field had a bit of a 2 and 8. It was all over the shop. But it looks like Marcus Spickus got the launch on everybody else and managed to get through. Has taken the overall race lead, I think, as they come through into the infield section for the first time. So amateur DD2, heavy and master, managing to get things going in the right way possible. So well done to them. It reminds me of when we had the amateur DD2 masters and heavy last year. 7 starts, 7 full starts we actually had. So great to see how things evolve a year on. As Rodrigo Frams, where is Rodrigo Frams at the moment? It could be a change for the race lead. That is Richard Pavlov through on Marcus Spickus. I would imagine there is Rodrigo Frams. Well, he's not in first place. Where is he? More to the point. Well, he's down to third behind Marcus Spickus. So the top 3 have scarfed away. Rodrigo Frams looking up the inside. That's a neat move on Marcus Spickus that he gets through for P2. So retakes the position away from the 523. He got the launch on everybody at the race start. He managed to put it high and wide, did the old Slim Shady around the outside and get through. But it's Richard Pavlov who led after the opening lap when it was completed. Now into the next left-hander. Rodrigo Frams buys his time. The 523 decides, the 521 does not decide to go up the inside of the 523. 593 tries to do the crisscross here and down the short chute on the back stretch to the final corner. And Richard Pavlov still leads. Frams in second. Spickus third. Maris Lochmelis. Then we also got Edmund Zuskovics and Carlos Britis, who's gotten up from back end of the field to 6th place. He's gained 5 positions in the opening 2 minutes of the 7-minute plus an additional lap opening heat of the weekend. Meantime, Rodrigo Frams closing in on Richard Pavlov. That's going to be a dive up the inside. If Pavlov did not keep it pinned around the outside, that was a good bit of defending there from the 593. Meantime, battle for 4th. Zul, kart in 6th. I think it was Carlos Bricius getting a bit sideways, getting a bit Tokyo drift on that corner. Hardler breaks through into turn number 14. Laps are, I think, very much going quickly at this point. With 4 minutes to go, up the inside, tries to go Rodrigo Frams and Richard Pavlov. Can't get the job done. Marcus Spickus coming back into this on the 525 the 523 Sody Kart. It's going to be a bit of a game changer here as they wait to bide their time, and now because Spickus has started to get a bit of a move on, Rodrigo Frams now having show signs of a little bit of desperation. He's got to try and think of a way of how he can get past Pavlov, whereas Carlos Bricius is now with them in 4th place. The gap was 2 seconds previous lap between 1st and 4th place. It's going to be a lot less than that, probably about, Marcus Spickus says to Carlos Bricius, okay, come on, you get through, you go past, you get a bye. Sounds like a tennis match, a squash match tournament, where you get a bye for being the best player on on the overall. But yeah, I mean, Marcus Spicis knew that his battle was not with Carlos Bricius. It's more with Maris Lochmelis, who is a couple of karts behind in sixth place. So the top four last time round were covered by 5.5 tenths of a second. There's now Bricius trying to look up the inside. Oh, clash with the right front to the left rear of Rodrigo Fram. So Carlos Bricius very, very close to sticking the old sharpened elbows out as Pavlov makes a mistake. That's not where you want that to happen either. So straight away that put Frams back in towards Bricius, who's going to look for the move up the inside into turn one. That's second place. Zuskovics now joins the party. Edmund Zuskovics in the number 551 on the Cosmic. Now Marcus Spicis. Oh, that's going to be 3 wide into the right-hander. Spicis has third. Oh, now, is there a problem? Who was that slowing down? That is Rodrigo Frams, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. Oh, no, 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 no. That is not how you play ball there. Number 551. Edmund Zuskovics into the side of another kart. Rodrigo Frams having a drama in his own right, ending up dropping down the order. Meantime, Carlos Bricius is trying to get through on Richard Pavlov for the race lead. And that's overall. So, more than likely going to be 3 laps to go, and the apple cart has been well and truly thrown up and down, and someone's had a tantrum in it. So, Frams has dropped to 5th, Lochmelis 4th, Calixon 6th, Martin Spicis is 7th at the moment, but there is the battle for the overall race lead. There could be 2's company, 3's a crowd very shortly. But what happened there with the 551 of Edmund Zuskovics, I will have no idea. I think it was Jonas Spicis got caught up in it as well. But with this lap, we'll have 2 more to go. So 9 laps in completion. So 2 to go. Pavlov versus Bricius. The gap was a 1/10.5. Marcus Spicis 1.7 seconds behind the race leader in P3. Maris Lochmelis 4th. There goes the move for the race lead. Carlos Bricius through on Richard Pavlov, who instantly counter-attacks. Tries to get one through on the 555. So next time around it will be the last lap of the race. And then these drivers will be able to have a little bit of a respite ready for tomorrow. Last lap is underway. Bricius leading by nearly 9 tenths of a second ahead of Pavlov. Marcus Spicis leading in the heavy class ahead of Maris Lochmelis. The gap between them is about 2.6 seconds. Rodrigo Frams was contesting for the race lead, finds himself down in 5th, 3rd overall in class. Martin Spicis 7th, Dimitris Antunovics, Juris Spicis, being the last 2 out on the circuit with Edmund Zuskovics and Artur Zenis, unfortunately out on lap 5 and lap 2 respectively. Rodrigo Frams trying to look for a possible move up the inside, but it is going to come down to the checkered flag this time. Carlos Bricius takes the opening win of the weekend in DD2 Amateur, Heavy and Master. Richard Pavlov takes second, and the Master takes second overall and wins in the Masters class. Marcus Spicis takes 3rd ahead of Maris Lochmelis. Rodrigo Frams, Kristaps Kalixons, Martin Spicis, Dimitris Antunovics and Juris Spicis rounding out the 9 that finished. Unfortunately, Edmund Zuskovics and Artur Zenis retiring from the race with 4 and 7 laps to go, respectively. And on that note, there's one more race to go. Tillerson T4 Latvia, their first heat, coming up momentarily.
Sukāns sāk līt.
Well, that's quickly how things can change here in Latvia. The rain has hit Ropatzinovas quite significantly, and, well, people have run for cover. Oh, well, it is what it is. They say that it's come rain or come shine, and everyone's gone to the main building on the left-hand side of your screens over there. The weather has intensified, and it's going to be like skating on an ice rink. It's going to wash all that rubber away here at the circuit, and obviously there may have to be a call depending on what tyres the Tillerson T4 drivers are on. So maybe they might have seen this rain coming and gone, well, I might have decided to go. I mean, it's coming down now. It's pelting down. I remember myself and Yanis, we were hosting the drivers' briefing last year at this circuit. Thunder, lightning, rainstorm, and everyone wouldn't shut up. So I had to raise my voice multitude of times. I still will never forget that because it was actually quite a funny moment. But we're just seeing that the rain is really, really hitting hard as we're at this point going to be stretched for visibility in terms of what the drivers are going to be able to see, especially with the rooster tails, as they are bringing one of the carts back in. We'll see for what we saw. Probably that would have been Edmund Zuskovics that went off during that amateur DD2, DD2 Master and DD2 Heavy Heat 1. Of course, the racing gets back underway at 10 past 10 local time tomorrow morning with our second set of heats. You can see the wind's really picked up as well, as I think a lot of the drivers are getting out of their carts. Not too sure what's going to happen. It could be that they're going to go on trolley jacks, and we might see our first bit. Yes, there is activity in the pit lane. I can see it in the background, that there is activity in the pit lane as the Tillerson T4s. There's going to be a slight delay as they're going to go onto wet weather tyres for their first heat. I bet they were looking forward to some dry racing, and now this happens. So, looking at the stewards' decisions, Carlos Kidikovs, front fairing penalty, senior. Dovidas Gudlevic, senior, front fairing. You see there's a repeating pattern happening. Ricard Tadikstins, front fairing, incorrect position. Norris Generalitis, front fairing penalty. Rikas Kikulis, front fairing penalty. Rikas Vig Vargas, DD2, front fairing penalty. Well, and you can see the rain's really starting to come down. It's hitting the camera lens big time. This is the far part of the circuit. And big thank you to the No Limits team led by Edgar Thompson, who really helped bring out the coverage on this. But we are still awaiting for when the green flag flies, and I'm sure that the first thing that Sillerton T4 will want to do is get the race done, get it completed, and then be on their way, because I'm sure that the first thing they'll want to do is make sure they get out of those wet, rain-soaked overalls as quickly as humanly possible. But very shortly we'll get back underway, and we'll get our Tillotson T4 first heat of the weekend done and dusted before we close things out here for day one of round 3 here at Ropatsi Novas. So as you can see, what started as a slight shower has turned to a torrential deluge of rainfall here in Novas, and that is what one of our camera crew currently sees. So all that grip, all that purchase that has been rubbered in all the way through today, through a lot of practice sessions, qualifying, and then all the races up until this point, well, we're still waiting for Tillotson T4 to hopefully be out very shortly.
Tā ir. Nē, vispār jau man izstāvēta pie tā dziļu somā, kur slapš negribās līst. Saki, Kriš, ka tu apdirsies vienkārši un dabū izlietot viņu. Kā tā soma diezgan slapja būs, tas tā ir okei. Nu, it kā jā, es ar tevi pataustītu, kā vajadzētu būt. Mums jāpažālē saulītē rītdien.
Well, we've had to wait a little while, but we are finally underway with our starting grid for Tillotson T4 Heat 1. So what should be happening is that, Rudolf Rulbenis has got no time on the board, so it will be Christopher Skalny and Kirill Dimitrievs that will be on the front row of the grid. Daniels Beresins with Elisabetta Johan Zolce rounding out they'll be rounding out the top four. Head of David Salmons and Hannes Gladkins, Horace Revalds, Rudolf Beresins, Edvards Jimenez and Dutchy Grossberger rounding out the top 11, which says that Rudolf Rubenis will be Bainis will be on the back of the field, and there are going to be you can see there are standing water puddles. Oh, and someone's gone straight off at the top of the top of the circuit. So what's more, ice rink, chronic understeer, standing water. It's like a steeplechase puddle coming through turn 4. Oh, that's bad. Oh, that is going to literally submerge the engines, throw so much water into the radiators. I'm sorry for laughing, but it's just the sheer significance of what we actually have, because there's going to be chronic understeer, traction is going to be at a premium, and drivers will have to be very, very careful. The one slightest misjudgment on a steering input, a braking input, a throttle input, you're going to find that you'll be on the receiving end of a spin around or possibly an incident, maybe even something a bit more dramatic. And I don't mean to put that fear of God into people, but it's more a case of you have to keep your eyes open as to what might happen. We have got 7 minutes plus an additional lap on the timer for this first 2 heats. So they're going to have to get into position very, very quickly in order to So they're having to go through the cut through. So let's see, will we get the green flag waving at the first time basking here in Tillotson T4 Heat 1? They all get into the tram lines. Green flag drops straight away. And well, there's a little bit of gesticulation from the inside of row 2 as if to say, right, okay, just take it easy. We've just got to get through this race first of all. So, yeah, the drivers are going to have to really grin and bear it. I'll probably say, yeah, I'll need a shower on this. Well, because they're currently getting one at the moment, and leading the way is Kirill Dimitrievs in the 965. Christopher Skalny in P2. Was P2, but chronic understeer. And we've had someone go around. I think that was possibly the 949. No, it wasn't. No, Rudolf's Rubinis that just went around. Salmons, in the meantime, I think is battling for third place. So, look at the standing water. We just had another spinner as well at the top of the course. Now watch this. They're all going to avoid it. They're all going to, some are going to avoid it. Some are going to use their front bumper like a plough of some description. Water plough. As we come across the line to complete this opening lap, and it's Kirill Dimitrievs, Daniels Beresins, who's trying to do the old Slim Shady round the outside. You can see the standing water puddle at turn 2. Gladkins, Gauner, Zalmans, that rounds out the top 5. So there is still quite a lot of this race to go. This is going to feel like it's going to be taking forever. More to the point, this is how it can happen. So the time will feel like it's an eternity ticking away. It's going to go a lot quicker than what they think. When you're behind the wheel of the car, sometimes things do tend to slow down. As Daniel Beresins closes in on Kirill Dimitrev's third, there's Gladkins running solo, then Karnit, then, well, you can see that some of them are using that standing water puddle. So lap times are far cry from what they were. Oh, right, we've got Rallycross. Oh, that's the 929 Dacia Grossberger that's gone off and spun the rear tyres and is, well, literally dug a hole. There's the two leaders coming through turns 2 and 3. Rudolf Berzins might have spun around in front and caused Grossberger to avoid. As Dimitrev's now in the 965 has been passed by Beresins for the race lead. Gladkins in third. Rupainis, and, well, finds himself behind Garnett. Salmon's dropped to 7th in the meantime, so someone else who's very well skilled in these Tillotson and T4s. You throw extreme weather conditions like this, you are going to have a few flies in the ointment. You are going to find a few drivers spinning around. Well, it hasn't been a good one for Elizabeth to Johan Zorce. She's down a lap at the minute. Don't think, well, might not be taking any further participation in this race. I think mainly based on the safety aspect. There's so many standing water puddles. Turn 2, up towards the sort of the mini triangle at the top as, oh, well, there we go. That is, I'm trying to work out the number on that one. Oh, that is Dacia Grossberger. I think that it's just dropped it. So down to 9 riders out of 11 who started the race. And it is, like I said, just skating on an ice. You can see here, trying to turn the car. Daniel Teperis Beresins just turning the cart in, and it is just, it's nothing you can do but understeer. There was one standing water puddle. Is right, let's see how, well, they all can't exactly avoid it. It's pretty much the width of the circuit. As we have an attempted move, that is Beresins. I think that was on Rupainis in the number 989. But I think everyone's going to have a welcome opportunity to have a little bit of respite after today. Sunshine has started breaking through the clouds again. Hopefully that's going to get rid of all the surrounding water and the standing puddles that we have on the circuit here at the 333 Baltic in Rapazul Novas. Around about a couple of hours away from Riga, if I remember correctly. But there is the race leader, Daniel Beresins, and leads by 3.6 seconds. Well, with a minute and 1 minute 15s. Okay, we'll have 2 more laps to go, and so with 45 seconds remaining on the timer. Oh, there we go. Nice little rainbow in the background. And still, they're finding the like carts and water splash puddles attracted like magnetism. You can see that now it's going to be even worse for the drivers, because as soon as the bright sunlight hits a very, very wet track, you're going to get that glare, and that's going to really hurt the peripheral vision, the 20/20 vision for some drivers. But Daniel Beresins has kept calm, whilst others have lost their heads. As in, why did it go horribly wrong? But the timer has expired. As Berezin's comes through. Looks like we've got another driver by the sidelines as well with Dacia Grosberger. Elisabetta Johansson has anyone else had a bit of an off? I'm not sure. But look at the spray coming up from all four wheels of the 919 as he makes his way around the splash puddle. And the last lap of the day is very much on course and going as we speak. 7.3 seconds was the advantage after 5 laps. I think after 6, it's going to be north of at least 12.5 seconds because see a couple of the other drivers coming across the line. 10.86 wasn't bad. Wasn't bad. As all. But one driver moves away from the puddle, the other one, splash, finds it. But everyone's, oh, no. No, Dimitrios just was completely sideways. Through into that right hander, the back end stepped out to the left hand side. It was like, no, I'm going to hold on to this, The left rear wheel nearly went no, nearly span him around into the dirt and into 2 other karts. It's still stationary. That means that Hannes Gladkins has managed to get through for 2nd position. They go to the top of the circuit for the final time here in Tillotson T4 Heat 1. But Daniel's Teperis Berezin's absolutely jubilant, made all the right choices in that race and wins in the 919. But the big question is, it's the €64,000 question at this time, how big is the winning margin? Well, that winning margin, I'm still waiting for it. 14.4 seconds after just 7 laps. Hannes Gladkins, Kirill Dimitrievs, Rudolf Toms Berezins, and Christopher Kaune, our pole sitter, ends up being the only 5 drivers finishing on the lead lap. Up until that point, you're seeing the rest of the racers come across the line. So, Rudolf Rubanis, Davis Salmans, and Oris Revals with Edvards Kumenis finish their race all on the lead lap. But, oh, well, if we can have a little zoom in, look, there's something else we'd like to see when there's been rain. That is, ladies and gentlemen, in the forest behind, you can see there is a big old rainbow, all the colours of it, amidst the sunshine here in Rotatsinovas. What a crazy day. Crazy way to end the day here on the ROTAX MAX Latvia Challenge YouTube channel. Our drivers will now get refreshed, respited, and ready to race tomorrow. It's been a wonderful few hours being with you all here, and a big thank you to everyone behind the scenes for making it happen. It has been some great racing. We've had some dramas, we've had some trials and tribulations along the way, but that's day 1 in the books. High jinks, high action, full throttle, and never give up. That's the mantra of these drivers here. They've got their elbows sharpened and they're ready for more racing tomorrow, where we'll have our 2nd set of heats, our pre-finals, and of course our finals as the road to Sarno continues here in Rotatsinovas for round 3 of the Latvian Karting Cup, the Latvian Karting Championship, and of course ROTAX MAX Challenge Latvia. Big thank you to No Limits, headed up by Edgaras and his team. Of course, Edgaras being the man doing all the production and the broadcasting, the images you see on the screen along with the camera crew. A big thank you to you all for watching. So, as they say, ciao, see you tomorrow. Join Chris Buxton for the racing action from 10 o'clock local time tomorrow morning. And my name's Alex Goldschmidt. It's been a pleasure with you once again. See you next time as we say goodbye for tonight to Rotatsinovas. We'll say ciao for now and see you in the morning.